Emperor Kevin Boothby, leader of Towcester, host of the Derby for... Is this your 5th year, Kevin?
5th year, Ben.
5th year, there we go. Now, Kevin, you always look so chilled out, right? You are the Buddha of greyhound racing. I would like to learn more about you. Are you ready for your top 10?
Fine, yeah.
There we go. How did you get into greyhound racing, and what was the no turning back moment, Kev?
I started getting involved in greyhound racing when I was coming out of the army when I was about 18.
You were in the army?
In the army, yeah, I got medically discharged, smashed my knee up, and
Oh, right.
obviously since then 21 operations, 2 metal knees now. But I got involved in a dog called Holiday Isle with Maggie Lucas at Romford, at Hackney, sorry. With some market lads from Boston, so I had a share of that, and just loved it, to be fair. But then after that, didn't have many dogs, working man, struggled. Then when I set up my own business when I was 30, 32, then I started getting some dogs again.
What was your business? What business?
Recruitment agency. So I was working in the fields for about 14 years.
Oh, right.
I used to get £10 a week pocket money.
Right.
I had enough money every week to buy some tobacco.
And what agency, sorry, there?
Recruitment agency.
Oh, right, recruitment agency,
So
right.
I was like, used to get £10 a week pocket money from the ex-wife. Used to have enough for a £1 round robin on a Saturday. That was my little treat, or buy some fishing maggots and things like that. So I did that for years, and one day I thought, sod this life, it is hard work, working in the field 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. So I set my own recruitment agency up, started with 3 workers. I always remember 3 workers the first week in a factory called Summersby Foods in Boston. Within a year I had 200 workers.
Wow.
And then I always thought I need to get another sort of business alongside the recruitment agency. But obviously then I started buying dogs, put them with Lorraine King. At the time she was at Milton Keynes. And then one day she said to me, the lease is up at Henlow. And I went to Henlow, I just fell in love with the place. Even though it's like, yeah, my accountant used to give me a hard time. And I went there and I did a deal quickly with Tony McDonald, took over. And yeah, wanted to build a restaurant, wanted to put a stamp on it that, you know, Henlow can have a restaurant, it can have the atmosphere, getting people in for a proper meal. It used to race on a Monday and Friday. Quickly I changed that, I did it Saturday night, and people laughed, said he's mad. The first of it Saturday night we had 70 people in, and within about 3 or 4 years we'd always get 800 people there. So Saturday night was the key.
Really, you had 800 in on a Saturday?
That's good. It was
Yeah.
always regular on a Saturday night, very good crowd, and it kept us afloat. We had no media right deals in them days, so we survived just on our beer sales and our tote retention. That's what kept Henlow afloat for years and years and years, and even then it was still challenging. And then it was ironic in, I think, 2014, 15 when Towcester opened. I lost all my dogs, and then we struggled with, you know, 7 4-dog races on a Saturday. Total retention was down, beer sales was down, and it was, oh yeah, very, very hard work. So it was ironic that, you know, in 2019 I came here and took over Towcester, to be fair. But it's just,
If you stay in the game, opportunities come up.
yeah, and I think the big thing in life, one thing in life is being positive mindsets, and the mentality when you're back against the wall, I can on the wall, and you know, it's little things like that which I love, and you get yourself in the whole thing. I'm going to get out of this one, and somehow you always seem to find a way. Do you know what I mean? So it's, I suppose, coming from the background I had as a working man, having no money, having no luxuries, no holidays, you know, it makes you going into business different mindset, because you spent all your life with nothing. But when you get into business, it's a different way of life. And I'm so lucky a lot of times over the last, you know, I've been ground racing 20 years now, owning tracks. The last 20 years I hadn't had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get in the van, pick lads up, go work in the field all day, 7 days a week. So in a way I feel lucky that I had to do that, because that's a hard life to do that. So it's, you know, I've enjoyed the last 20 years in ground racing. Ups and downs, there's been plenty of ups, there's been plenty of downs. But it's you know, it's certainly a roller coaster, Ben, you know.
Kevin, on your journey, what would you say that your favourite song is, and what meaning does it come with?
You asking me a question about music. If I listen to songs, I always like to listen to a happy song.
I know this song.
Yeah, I like a happy song with, you know, just so mentally you just get yourself in a good mood for the day or whatever it is. So it can be any song for me, but as long as it's like a joyful sort of song. You know, I'm not one of these.
I thought it was going to be Sweet Caroline, because you played that.
Caroline, I love
you
that.
played that
Again,
Derby final night.
But that's a happy song, Ben.
Yes.
Sweet Caroline. I've always been the same. I've always liked to make people happy if I can. and obviously songs like Sweet Caroline, yeah, it's perfect for that.
What type of person inspires you?
I like to be around positive people. One of my pet hates is people who are doom and gloom and negative. I think it can pull you down and put you in a bad mind, put your mind all over the place, and then you end up with bad luck. So I like to surround myself, especially like with staff and that. I can't stand staff who are negative and this is going to go wrong, that's going to go wrong, and you normally find things actually do. So it's nice to surround yourself with nice people who are actually, positive, and I think that's a big thing.
What are you scared of in this life, Kevin?
What I'm scared of? I suppose with greyhound racing, the one thing that always scared me and always makes me paranoid is things like if things go wrong at any of my tracks. I'm looking at history in the last so many years of problems with traps and this, that and the other, and that scares me because you don't want to let people down, and you will always make sure your tracks are safe for dogs to run on, and I think we maintain tracks really well. But yeah, that's probably the only thing this day and age in my life where ever worries me if things go wrong with traps and things like that. I mean, that's the only time I get worried about things.
Kevin, you're always chilled out and you always survive, right? How do you, or what keeps you going?
Again, I think from the background coming into greyhound racing and nothing, setting the business recruitment agency up and then taking the tracks on, you're lucky when you enjoy a sport and it.
Enjoyment, yes.
Yeah, 20 years ago, greyhound racing was my hobby. I mean, I used to run a business and the greyhound racing side of it was actually a hobby. So I was lucky that I could enjoy my hobby. But yeah, it's like anything, Ben. We all get challenges in our life and we all face up to problems and this, that and the other. And when you look at when greyhound racing is really nice, and hopefully greyhound racing can change and prosper again. We've had a lot of ups and downs with greyhound racing, but I thoroughly enjoy the sport.
What's your favourite film and what do you take from it?
I always do numerous films. Any film. In fact, I was watching a film today on the way here to Towcester, and it's always like a good feeling factor. Any film with Jason Statham in, I love them action films, and the good guy wins and he saves the day, and somebody's always in trouble and he rescues them. I love that because it's always a happy ending. So I love a good film with a good happy ending. Call me a soppy at heart, but that's how I am.
You are soppy at heart. It's the best way to be. Kevin, you've got 5 wonderful children. What's your best piece of parenting advice?
With my kids, I think the main thing is to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. That, you have to get a trade, or you have to go to work, you have to provide for your family. Yeah, I've helped my kids down against cars and things like that, but I think just going out there and being positive in life. My son Piers, he's got a great job in London. Owen, he's an electrical manager, because at an early age he had the mindset they wanted to do well for themselves, and it's so pleasing. My daughters, their mothers, they've got 3 kids that do a great job mothering. And it's nice that they have a good positive mindset, the kids. So
you love positive things happen to positive people.
Oh yeah, I've always Ben. Look, greyhound racing. I think the biggest gripe I have in greyhound racing is too many people in the sport who's negative.
Oh, definitely. Moaning Olympics.
Yeah, I find it staggering. I mean, I'm also involved in the sport of speedway, and I've never known so many supporters and people so positive.
Oh, it's a different culture.
Yeah, but when you see greyhound racing, people moan and whinge.
What would you like to see happen in greyhound racing?
I would like to see the crowds come back to the tracks. Look, the media right deals over the years haven't been good that tracks don't race on a Friday and Saturday nights. This day and age, I think it's important that tracks can race to get people in and educate. I love to see families come to tracks. I think it's so important that you bring young kids and families come, groups of people.
And they can't do that on a Tuesday morning.
No, they can't, exactly. But obviously tracks do need to have that sort of racing to pay the bills.
What's your favourite characteristic in a friend and an ally, Kevin?
Somebody who's honest, to be fair. A lot of honesty. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of people, especially in greyhound racing, who can be very two-faced. So it's always nice to speak to somebody who's actually honest and got your back. Do you know what I mean? Instead of gossiping about you and all this, that and the other, that sort of thing can be very damaging. So I'd love to be again.
Honestly,
I don't have many big groups of friends around me because we keep ourselves private. It's something, but I love to have honest people around me.
how would you describe yourself, Kevin?
Myself, probably daft as mad as a hatter sometimes when it comes to greyhound racing because of the love for the game, which I've had for 20 years now. As a track owner, as an owner of dogs. I mean, I've been so lucky that back in the day I used to buy some nice dogs graded. Since then I've won loads of category ones. I've made a derby final, made a derby semi-final. And then I put my promoter's hat on, and when I had Henlow, you used to always look at the sport and think, oh, wouldn't it be great one day I could actually be a promoter of the English Derby. So to actually achieve that, I do feel very proud about what we have achieved over the last 4 years of staging the Derby. So yeah, it's the one thing that keeps me going, Ben, and I've mentioned it many times, you have to be positive in life. If not, yeah.
Kevin, I would describe you as the true dog man.
Yeah.
You're a pure
Oh,
dog man.
yeah.
Until the last day of your life, you will love to see a greyhound run. You love to see other people watching dogs run. Greyhound racing is grateful to you. The sport respects you. You are a trier. You are a survivor. Thank you for being a friend of mine, and thank you for everything you've done for the Derby and the sport we love.
Thank you, Ben.